So when we talk about Pune per se, we say that it's the 8th largest urban agglomeration within India, but we rank second with the vis-a-vis the total amount of educational institutes that we have, as well as the software companies and the software work that goes on in India. And internationally, we are among those 100 resilient cities that have been selected under the Rockefeller Foundation, and another lot of things to go. When we talk about the overall issues of Pune, there was a lot of citizen engagement which went into the selection of this kind of parameters as to which should be the areas of focus at the pan-city level as well as the local area development. And like it is there with all urban bodies, we had transportation and mobility being the biggest problem, followed by water and the way downwards. So what we wanted was, like all smart cities, a livable city where the core infrastructure should be future-proof, and we should ensure that along with the physical infrastructure that we build in, we have a sustainable development that goes in, where we take care of the environment as well as the greening of the city. This is the list of the 51 projects that we want to plan and do in the mission that is for the first 5 years. Among waters, we have around 15 different projects, 24/7 being one of the biggest among them, and metering the whole city, and 100% metering that is to be established, along with ensuring that recyclable of waters as well as stormwater use can be brought into use. The second area was about solid waste management sanitation. These parameters will be done at the area development level, where we try to address the segregation of waste, the transportation as well as the processing, so that we ensure that a zero-based ward is established, so no wet waste or any waste flows out of the system, that is taken care of within the area itself. Then under the ICT, among those 7 different parameters, the biggest is the adaptive traffic control system, where about 368 different signals are to be integrated, and a system of adaptive traffic is to be established. We already had the tenders for this done, but it's again at a re-tendering stage. Again, we have an intelligent road management system that has been already put up into and integrated with the bus ITMS. A command control center is already in place with a lot of smart elements, which I'll speak gradually. Among transport, emphasis on 100 electric buses procurement through the FAME subsidy of Department of Heavy Industries, e-rickshaws as a last mile connectivity, and emphasis on the BRT as well as the road development which is there. Among urban planning, we have around 10 different areas where bicycle sharing, redesigning of streets, where one of the projects is already done, and we had ITDP share one of our slides along with Seoul. So we are quite happy that Pune is shown there as one of the achievements where footpaths were shown. Those photographs came from Pune. And again, a functioning on an emphasis on placemaking, which is a quite innovative thing. So where we develop our open spaces vis-a-vis the requirements that are there of the neighborhood, where not just developing gardens or putting up any playgrounds and everything, but what the element is required in the particular neighborhood, that is emphasized upon, and then we introduce that thing with a different kind of elements and an acceptability which is there for that infrastructure that is built, so public money does not go waste. The other areas which are there pertaining to solar energy or low income skill development, everything. A MARC project will be about the startup zones, where we have already established a PIF, that is Pune Idea Factory Foundation, which will concentrate on that. This is the total funding layout that we have. The Aun Baner Balewadi area has a total fund layout of about 2,197 crores among different parameters. And for the PAN city, we have a layout of about 670 crores. So vis-a-vis about the 1,000 odd crores that we'll be getting in from a 500 crores of grant from the central government, and 250 crores from the state as well as the corporation, which comes as a capital, as a seed money, where on a 1,000 crore corpus, we are planning to integrate our land monetization and other areas to meet out and reach out a target of around 2,900 crores of developments. So these are the 4 parameters where we have outlaid and we have proceeded on the deployment of our various projects. The D part is where around 14 odd projects are already on the phase of completion and implementation stage, 9 out of which are already functional. And the other parameters where we say the conception, everything is on 11 different projects. So this is the layout of those projects and vis-a-vis their deployment over a period of time. So the key projects that we have is the smart elements, which is already done, which I'll talk about, the smart street lighting, the placemaking, the startup hub, as well as the street designing. So this is the placemaking that I was talking about, where rather than developing a piece of land as a garden, everything, the impetus is there on putting up some kind of different elements which are acceptable and reusable, which is as per the requirement and need of the people. putting up solar trees or these kind of new innovations that are there, making it self-sustainable environmentally, as well as putting up a rainwater harvesting system in place. So whatever water that can be collected can feed up and at least sustain that kind of an area. Electricity is through net metering of that, and then giving those smart element components where we say if there's a need for yoga, there a yoga center has been created. If there's a need for a community garden, the community garden has been put in place. If there's a place where an outdoor gym is to be required, so that kind of things are put up for this kind of thing. This is the smart street that we are talking about, the before and after photographs, where emphasis has been basically on ensuring that as per the IRC norms, the road widths are in place. We have a uniform pedestrian walkway that has been established, good kind of street furniture that is put in place. Wherever pedestrians want to cross, the things are in place. A dedicated cycle track, parking, and all those things which are especially required. And these are the actual photographs where we also ensured that new kind of boulevards and everything are put up. And some street art is also infused, say by form of speaking walls or some sculptures and everything coming in form of recyclable and reusable of waste. Our street lighting project is already through. We already had established about, out of the total about 2,27,000 street lights. The Pune Corporation had already gone across and completed a larger part of its transformation into LED over a period of time, but we had left out with 70,000 street lights. So this project, we went ahead and under a PPP project. The transformation and changing of all these street lights is already in progress, and by the end of December will be get fully functional. We have a SCADA system which is already in place and a central control command system center which takes care of all the street light. And the energy saving is somewhere upwards of around between 45 to 55% of the total energy intake for the city. So we'll be having around 2,27,000 plus LED street lights in place by December. This is the effect that we have, the night photographs and everything, and the control center from where we get to know as to which street lights are functioning and not. The second one of the projects that is already completed is the Lighthouse project. Lighthouse is basically skill development kind of an initiative which we have undertaken with Pune PCC. That's Pune City Connect is one of the NGOs with whom we are closely associated and working, where especially it's not just dropouts of 10th and 12th standards that come to the place, but even from different age groups, where different kind of courses are tuned upon as per the requirement and how these people can be put into not just skill development, but those skills can be put into use where they can set up their own entrepreneurship as well as some kind of income or a job can come through. So these are the three centers which are already functioning over a period of time. The first one to start was Aund, followed by Yerwada and Hadapsar. And if you look at it, we had around more than about 1,500 people who got enrolled, and out of that around 800 of them have completed their skill development course, and about 350 have already been placed into different kinds of jobs, or they have having placements in the IT companies or the malls that such kind of jobs were required, and we ensured that such kind of system came into place. Then the Smart Element project that talks about the command and control center. So when we talk about smart city, there's a lot of talk about the total physical infrastructure that each city wants to develop, vis-a-vis getting into some international parameters, and the standards are established. We listened to the divisional commissioner in the morning, the minister sir also. It's not just physically that you should have a very smart outlook, but internally we should have a robust system in place. So I think for any smart city henceforth in the future, establishment of such kind of a system wherein integrated command and control center which integrates different departments, gets them together, and you create a data bank and a data source which will help you create a big data system, which is analysis will help you for planning the city and taking out different kind of solutions. So that becomes the biggest component. So the Pune Smart City has gone forward and established about 200 plus Wi-Fi within the city of Pune, which we are extending it to about 300 plus by 26th of January. Then environment sensors are already in place. We have 50 different environment centers which are functioning at different places. And for the last 6 months, we are getting parameters which give out very good results pertaining to the graphs and everything. And it's giving a real-time data pertaining to the present situation, pertaining to rainfall, pollution levels, as well as weather and everything within that microclimate. Then we have, rather than just along with collecting information like environment, we also have our flood sensors which are in place. And then there are other sensors that will be put into place gradually. So there's a talk with Toilet, it's an NGO at world level who are coming up with a different kind of sensors, which will be placed into different public group latrines, especially in slum and different areas. So what happens that incidents or the total amount of biological, bacterial count or the other kind of microorganisms which are harmful can be checked, their population can be reported back in form of a sensor. So an outburst of a particular kind of a disease in a particular area can be traced. So there are different kind of sensors which are coming, which is mind-boggling to understand that such kind of systems can be put into place. But that is something where we'll be having the first set of 50 sensors coming in the month of February or March to be put into a public group latrines, and the toilets that will give out a data pertaining to the health status of that particular area. That will be helpful. I don't know to what extent and how many things, but we'll be trying it out. But while recepting a lot of data from these different sensors all across the city, we put in a receptive kind of system where we talk about a public addressal system which has been placed at almost all our signals. So from the command and control center, if you have to put in a signal in an audio format, you can convey it to one individual node or all the nodes around, that is around 136 nodes all across the city. Along with that, we have an emergency box which is a two-way system again, where in kinds of emergencies, if somebody wants to, can put in, press in a button there, and he can get connected on video as well as audio with the command and control center, and any kind of message that has to be conveyed by as a kind of an help or a thing that they noticed and they don't know where to approach for the police station or the fire station or the local corporation. It can be an interactive medium. The variable display board again is a display where the command control center gets integrated in form of a visual format. It is different kind of issues to the citizens while they are on the move. So it can be pertaining to traffic, or it can be a flood sensor or any kind of an alert that goes out as a disaster kind of a thing. So the command control center and its smart elements is one of the areas. This is what is already set up and it's being functional. You can see we have different people coming from the different departments, be it from the police, fire and everything, who come and visit this area. Below are the photographs of all those parameters that have been deployed outdoors for those elements, that is Wi-Fi centers, the public addressal system, as well as this. The Digital Experience Center, which is already functional, is again an interactive medium to engage the citizens as to let them know of the different activities that have been taken up, as well as an interface that takes place with the city, and to know much more about the projects of the smart city. This again a project which is already put up. We have already founded a Pune Idea Factory Foundation, a subsidiary company under Pune Smart City, which will be focusing much more on the component of creating an atmosphere for startups and everything. These are those 4 pillars through which by going into approach the mentors, or be it conducting different workshops and seminars, or providing infrastructure, that is physical infrastructure with a lot of impetus on technology and everything, and awareness to ensure that Pune becomes one of the major startup hubs among India is the goal that we look out for. So the progress that we talked about has been made, that we have ensured that we gave in about 5 crores each year. So 5 crores for this year has already gone to PIF, and we'll be adding on another 5 crores each year for the next 3 years. And we have Dr. Mashilkar and others who are part of this whole system. So these are those projects that I talked about. Then the 24 by water supply is something which the Pune Corporation and the Pune Smart City is going to jointly together. Adequate water supply, metering, and storage is something which is a parameter and important aspect which is to be done. Adaptive traffic, like I told about briefly, there's a graphical description of what it consists of and how we'll be deploying this. It's again a kind of a modern outlook that we are talking about. Transit Hub is our one of our major projects, which will be a land monetization project set up on total on the highway, an 11-acre area where 21 lakh square feet of total area is to be developed, which will have a commercial as well as an office complex, and that will help us pay for us. One of the last projects I will talk about is the river rejuvenation. The riverfront that we have around 44 kilometers of riverfront for the whole city, but our area of concentration for smart city will be limited to 3.5. That is our part, which will be the initial phase, which will be there, which will invest, develop, and that is something which can be replicated all across the city. I think that should be all. Thank you very much.